So I guess the first question, Tim, is, how did you learn about this? How did you decide this was something you wanted to pursue?
Well, we first heard about this whole process through one of our Builder 20 builder members, where they were really raving about it and recommending that all of us go through it. So after a few years of hearing that, and then also better understanding the needs we had as an organization, where we just kept hitting roadblocks, we thought this could be a solution. So that was the reason why we did it. We had a need. We had people that we trusted that said it would be helpful. So we decided to go for it.
Can you give me a specific about the roadblocks you were hitting and kind of, and the thinking behind, okay, we know we're hitting these roadblocks. How do we get past them? Is there another way to get past them?
Yeah, and it was around growth and how to do it well, where it felt more sawtooth, so to speak, where we'd have a year or two going up and then we would come back down. And then the results that we had around that, whether it was customer experience, profitability, employee morale, it wasn't moving in a nice trend line up. So it really seemed like we were missing something core there. So that's one of the objections that we kept, or roadblocks that we kept running into as we're on this journey and this vision of growth that we have for the company.
Okay, so you go through the part one, you get the application. How did you approach completing the part two application? What was your thinking, and maybe how did that evolve as you kind of got into it?
What we did was we assembled a team, people that were proficient in different areas of the business that could help speak and answer the questions and the objectives of the application. So we set up a regular meeting schedule where we would talk about what was needed, who would do what by when, and then we pulled all this information together, and then we had one person draft the response or the report that fill out the application, so it would be cohesive. But we know it was too much for any one person to do. So we needed to assemble a team. We needed to have a regular cadence to review it. And then ultimately we felt one person compile it all together and make sure it read cohesively.
And is that kind of your culture, or was it something that the application kind of, you came to that conclusion then?
Yeah, I think it was a natural response. I mean, we are more collaborative. Teamwork is really important. And I think I also believe that I'm not the expert in all of these different facets of the business. I'd much rather enlist people that know more and then bring my sense on top of that work. So I think it was a natural response for who we are as an organization, where we really value the individual and understand their unique contribution and how they can add value.
Were there things that came to light, or that were specifically helpful, or just enlightening? Just okay, that's something we have to think about, and how we're going to respond to that.
It was helpful in the areas that were tough to respond to. Were telling, it was like, oh, we hadn't considered that question quite like that. We'll give it our best. This is what we do, but it's apparent there's a gap there already simply by the question asked and the level of response that we can give to it. So that was helpful, those insights. And if you had the temptation to embellish it, the examiners were going to come in and they're going to look for evidence. They're going to talk to people. So it was a real honest account. This is where we are. This is how and that's what you want. I mean, I think you want to be vulnerable and honest and transparent in that, as to where they can diagnose what's going on, get to the root. So it was helpful. We could see just around strategic planning, process management, really understanding the causal relationship. But to get these business results, we need to do these, or this is at least a thought. If we do these behaviors, if we do this strategy, we'll get these business results. And then the monitoring of that, and really seeing, is it working, not working? How do you monitor? How do you adjust and pivot? That process wasn't well thought out. Sometimes you get these business results, but it might have very little to do with what your plan was. And I think understanding if it's what you're laying your hand to that's causing it or not can be helpful, because then you can double down on a strategy, or you can exit and chart a better course.
And then you get the site visit. Were you were you surprised they got a site visit, or was it more like, oh, this is great, this is what we wanted. We want to kind of learn from these guys and have them give us a little bit more, feedback and kind of, like you said, dig deeper into what we're doing?
I think we kind of expected it to be pretty transparent, pretty raw, based on our conversations with other people that had gone through the process. But it was definitely very helpful, because even some of the areas where we thought we were on point within the application, through further questions and through the evidence, so to speak, that we had to support what our assertions were, we saw there were holes in them. And those conversations with the examiners were very helpful. They were able to, whenever someone better understands who you are and how you're doing it, I think the quality of their feedback can get better and better. And through that site visit, through conversations with individuals, whoever that would, trade partners and other employees, they were able to really see, kind of connect the dots in a much better way, I think. And their advice was more helpful through that.
Okay, so you go through that, both the application and the site visit, very valuable. You learn some things about your company, you get some great feedback. The feedback report comes in. What did it? I would imagine it validated a lot of that, or documented a lot of that.
Yeah.
But were there things in there too that again were more kind of, aha moments, or enlightening, and really kind of, once it was documented, gave you a little bit more insight?
Yeah, strategic planning was another big rock, or big opportunity they found. And I mean, that fell directly on the leadership team and myself as well, where we didn't really have a framework, and there wasn't this methodology around this to get the business results that we needed. So, in short, we developed that framework that had, okay, this is what we're going to do when, this is who's going to do it, this is the purpose of these meetings, and then this is how we're going to communicate the strategic plan to the entire organization. I didn't mention this earlier, but they found that, and I guess this is true in any organization, at the top, it may be clear, the vision, the mission, the plan. And then as you go down, there's vision leak, there's strategic planning leak. Our trade partners were unaware. Our customers, it wasn't clear to them what sets us apart. What is our unique selling proposition? So all of those things, we now have milestones where we go to these different stakeholder groups and we share, hey, this is who we are, this is where we're going, this is how far we are on that journey, and any questions, any concerns. So that whole framework. The other piece of that is hearing and understanding customers, employees, and trades needs, what's working, not working, and incorporating that feedback into the culture of our company, or even into the product, what's working or not working based on these surveys, and incorporating that feedback and informing how we move forward. So those feedback loops were inconsistent at best. And I think it just created this structure.
What has been the effect of this, though? Can you point to something, or just generally, of receiving the award, of earning that award? Has there been any kind of a tangible or just an intangible kind of outcome of that on the team?
Yeah, I think initially there was this boost, this excitement that, you know, we're a culture where every day we believe we can get better. And sometimes we don't celebrate the successes and the gains that we have made. We're focused on the gaps and not the gains. So I think this was, even though, you know, there was a lot of opportunities laid out, it wasn't a gold level award. I think there was a moment where we still recognized we've come a long way. We're doing some good work here, and we need to recognize people and we need to celebrate that. I really saw the leadership team, you know, there was some pride, in what we had accomplished. And I thought that was a really cool moment that we were able to share that. And a lot of people put a lot of work into it and needed to be recognized for it.
Any advice that you would give to a builder, just as you got advice from one of your Builder 20 builders,
Yeah.
About engaging this program?
You know, I would tell them, if you're serious about improvement, if you're serious about growth, if you want to get better, I don't know of any better value out there for a group to come in and holistically review your business and give you a roadmap forward. I'm sure there's other avenues out there. The ones I'm more familiar with are they're siloed. And so this holistic approach and at the cost to participate in this, in my mind, is unmatched.